Hi everybody, and welcome to the Acorn Wealth Executive Summary Stock Report. This is where you're going to get your platinum picks by video and a summary of what we're looking at for tomorrow's trading. Okay, so let's flash over to the all-important day today that the S&P 500 went through. We've been talking about this trend line resistance and the fact that we felt it was going to be creeping higher and higher and come to this all-important test of 1924 to 1930 and what would happen when we breached it. Now, we had suspicions that we were going to go higher because we've been watching the Dow Jones Global Index, which is, of course, a basket of all the worldwide economies put into one index, and we saw that this looked much like the S&P 500, but in fact broke through on May 23rd and has been climbing ever since. So we were suspicious that this was probably going to be the way things went, and we've been focusing on the long side of the market and looking at momentum trades as a result. So the breakthrough the S&P 500 had today was no surprise. It was something that had been leading up, and if you look at the 5-day exponential moving average, the S&P 500 has been out of an oscillating trend now since the 22nd, which coincides with the Dow Jones Global Index breaking out, and you can see that's also pushed the S&P 500 higher. We've been closing in the top half of the range over the last few candles, as you can see. With an increase in volume and punching through with confidence in today's trading. So what do we look for now? That means we put a preference onto the long side and look at a potential move here to where the Fibonacci's coincide. If we measure Fibonacci's from here to here, the low of February to the high of March on that leg, as well as the recent low to the breakout point of yesterday's resistance, you can see that both Fibonacci's we get a kind of a convergence of the Fibonacci's here at the 1974 level. You can see that the two Fibonacci's 38.2 extension from here and the 61.8% extension from there. So 1975 seems to be the target resistance of where we're going next, which offers a 35-point room to move from here to there. So looking in at possible longs, let's start with AVNR, a previous flag formation spotted back in April that we felt was going to have a nice rally up from that 460 to 520 level. It did do that. It pulled back. It's actually gone for another run to 540 and looks like a potential another move. So overall, we kind of got our eye on that resistance up around the 580 mark that we find from looking back in the earlier in the year. There's a very strong smart money sell area up in this area, so be cautious of that. You can see that the flag extension, which is the length of the flagpole here, takes us up, from the breakout point, takes us to almost exactly up to that resistance. So with that coinciding, there could be some exciting bullish activity from this 520 area up towards 573, which is just shy of the 580 zone. On the hourly chart, looking at the shorter term time frame with it for a less aggressive target, you can see on the hourly chart we seem to be consolidating in a channel. So if we zoom in a bit, you can see we broke through this kind of mid-term support. So for shorter day, maybe the day traders out there, we can see money flow is breaking through zero. So if you're not looking for those longer targets, there could be a shorter trade here from this 520 zone up towards this 550 zone. So a nice little 30-cent pop, or just over 5%. So there's AVNR. Let's now look at INFI, also a stock to watch for tomorrow. This is something that's been on our watch list for a while. You can see that if we look at the consolidation trend, there was quite a significant consolidation pattern going on here. It broke that level, rallied up, hit resistance, pulled back, and tested that resistance now turned support from above. It held that, also gathered support from the 20-day moving average, offering a really good potential entry point there around 950, and has pushed up now towards the $10 level. But this one's looking quite good, and from this area between 950 and 10, I feel there's a good potential from that kind of momentum trade perspective that if it punches through that 50-day moving average, it should be able to 20-day moving average, sorry. sorry, it is the 50-day moving average, could pop up towards the 1150 mark, which is where we now see the 100-day moving average closing in on. So that would offer a nice 10 to 15% rally on INFI. And if we go to the hourly chart as well, we can see some really bullish activity in the final hour with a big punch in volume as we push further in the closing moments. Directional movement looking good. You can see the ADX is pointing upwards, which is what we want. The buying power, represented by the blue line, has confidently crossed above the selling power, so we have a buy signal from the ADX and directional movement system as well on that shorter time frame. So INFI, another stock to be watching. Whole Food Markets, significant rally here. I mean, they had some incredible volume in today's trading. You can see that it went from a volume of what we're looking at yesterday, 7.68 million to 15 million, so basically doubling. Really confident broke through all of its moving averages, and also broke the resistance from the gap down level that it previously had. So a potential for it to fill the gap, but in the short term, looking at the hourly chart, you can see that, and big option activity as well on WFM, looking at the $45-46 area. So you can see the moving average closing in on that. So looking at that 44.50 could be, and watching how it interacts with the moving average as it comes down from a top, this could be an interesting potential trade with, again, that kind of 10% potential move from where it is at the $40 price up towards that 44 area. So again, kind of 8 to 10% is the kind of movement I'm expecting from stocks as it coincides with the potential move or strength in the market. If we look at the hourly chart on WFM, you can see we've also got support at $39, which is where the volume came in as it broke that price. Now, what you'll notice is that with that type of a volume pattern, with a break of that kind of resistance, we also get a potential flag on the hourly chart, which takes that at least up to the 41.50. So that should add to its potential strength. And again, you'll see that really strong volume occurring on that final hour. So a push, consolidate, and potentially continuing its move up towards 41.50 and further towards $44. Again, the ADX also confirming lots of movement in the system by that ADX crossing above 30 and continuing to 35, and that's what you want. You want to make sure that there is movement in the stocks you're trading. If the ADX is going down, it's below 20, below 15, below 10, unlikely to have as much of a move. So WFM also looking good. And finally, the BBCN. This one having a lot of power. Money flow really kind of doing well here. You've got nice move. It breaking horizontal resistance as well today. It does have a bit of a problem with this moving average on top. You can see it struggled with that before. We've got a bit of smart money resistance at 16.50. But for those momentum traders out there, this could be one to watch because of the amount of momentum coming into it per the money flow. If we look at the MACD, you can see that's also showing a very strong move in the volume. Move in the momentum upwards also. Directional movement giving us a buy signal today. The blue crossing the red. ADX just starting to turn up. And one thing to be aware of, though, is the RSI is starting to get quite high. It's approaching the 70. So what may be a better move here is to wait for it to push up and have a bit of a pullback, offering that the breakout retest, and looking to see if it has a nice pullback towards that 1581 level. But nevertheless, another good one. And the final one is CHKR. This also has got similar problems. It's got moving averages kind of consolidating over the top of it, but this is also one I'd add to your watch list as a potential momentum trade. It's especially on the hourly chart, you can see that it's overcame its most immediate resistance at 1060. So you have this kind of ascending triangle formation that's formed, which is of course a bullish formation. We got one test, two tests, three tests, break. It's rallied, pulled back to support. So from 1060 here, we could see at least a rally in those shorter term time frames up towards the next resistance level, which would be about a 5% move also, if it's able to hold this support and rally up into that next resistance zone. That would fill the gap there and offer a 5% potential, with support still coming in from that rising previous trend line from that previous trade. So there's 5 stocks to watch and a market breakdown. I hope that helps, and we look forward to seeing you all in the next executive summary. Take care. Welcome to the Acorn Wealth Corporation video report. A quick disclaimer, Acorn Wealth Corp is an educational company specializing in strategies for technical analysis on the stock market. Acorn Wealth Corp is not a licensed securities dealer or registered financial advisor in any state or jurisdiction. This presentation is for educational purposes only and does not constitute an offering of securities and should not be relied upon for making investment decisions. It is not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold securities, nor is it tailored to the individual needs of any specific individual. It is merely a general commentary on how our technical analysis strategies approaches particular stocks and market conditions. It is highly recommended that you seek financial advice before taking any action.